Well, good morning. It's 8:30, and I want to welcome you all to this 2026 Beam Business Service Power Series session. I think the title there is longer than the 30 minutes that we have together, but I think you're in for a treat today. It'll be a challenging treat, and I think there's some fun to it too because we've got a great story to start with. We're going to look at the story of four blind men and an elephant, and we're also going to look at a window in a little bit. So I'll just hang that little bait out there for you to think about. But I want to thank the Portsmouth, Ohio Chamber of Commerce, by the way, and Lisa's here kind of being the doorkeeper, and appreciate her help and the Chamber's promotion of this. They put the word out and encourage people to come. This morning is about how to create better teamwork or how to create a better synergy in your team. And the common concern I get from teams that are struggling or they want to get better is they have communication issues. And this is certainly a lesson in communication. But it's going to go a little deeper than that. So just buckle your seatbelts and here we go. I always start these sessions with the rules of the game. These rules are designed to help you get the most out of this 30 minutes. You are taking 30 minutes of your life and basically committing it to this time together. So for you to get the most out of that, here's what you need to agree to. The first thing is you need to own it. And what I mean by that is you need to be responsible, accountable, and take some ownership of the information. You can take this just as a little class and write some information down and think about it a little bit and be a little entertained. I don't really care if you do that. However, if you truly want to get the most out of this and make use of it, you have to choose to own it. That means you're going to own your response. That means you're going to choose to do something about it. That means you're going to take action on this. It means you're going to try to find a way this morning to apply what you learn to make a difference and grow. You know, coaching is all about growing. It's all about getting better. It's all about improving your performance. And so if you want to do that today, it certainly can happen. But the first thing you're going to have to do is not have that victim mentality that it's somebody else's fault, or I've got excuses, I can't do anything about it, or you just don't even deal with things. That's called denial. You want to get rid of all that, and you want to choose to take ownership, accountability, and responsibility this morning. That's the first rule. The second rule is participation. 100%. What does that mean? Give yourself fully to this. Engage your mind. Take some notes if you're a note taker. Set aside the other distractions for 30 minutes and really engage with me, really connect with me. That's a choice that you make to be all in for this 30 minutes. The third rule is a huge one, and it really is the lesson for today. This rule really goes right along with our lesson today about these four blind men and the elephant, is to drop the I know. We all know things. We all understand things. We all have opinions. We all have values that we hold. We have things that we know are true. I'm not saying to say you no longer know those things are true. I'm saying set that aside, kind of push it to the side, and just be curious this morning. Be open-minded to something that maybe you've never considered or looked at this way before. That's how you'll get the most out of that. That's what that rule is for. And finally, we are going to have some fun, and I think this story that we're going to start with certainly creates some fun for us. So let me begin with the story. Four blind men and an elephant. And I'm just going to read it to you this morning. Here goes. So here's how the story is told. Once upon a time, there were four blind men that were good friends, and they helped each other make some sense of the world by sharing information with each other. And on this particular day, they came across an elephant, and they wanted to learn all they could about this amazing creature. So the first blind man walked up to the elephant and he grabbed his tail. He said, "This creature is much like a rope." The second blind man grasped the trunk and explained with great assurance that the elephant was much like a giant hose. Blind man number 3 found the ear, and he was certain that this creature was fashioned much like a great fan. And the fourth blind man ran smack dab into the side of the elephant, and he said, "This creature is like a big solid wall." Think about it. A rope, a hose, a fan, a wall. So which is it? Each man was sure of his own observation, and he argued vehemently with his other friends for his own description because he was convinced he was right. They argued, and they all stubbornly insisted with great frustration and anger that they knew the truth, and each man being right in his own eyes. Isn't that an interesting story? My question this morning for you is this. Is what other people telling you, my question for you is, what are other people telling you that you know is wrong? I'm going to do this slow this morning because I really want you to think with me. People are telling you things and you know they're not right, because it contradicts what you know. In other words, you know the facts. You know what happened. You know what you saw. You know what you think. And you know what they're saying is wrong because it doesn't agree with that. What is it that they see that you might not see? Isn't that interesting? What if you found their observation and their opinion interesting? In other words, back on our rule of the game, you drop the I know. And what if you started to listen to all these quote unquote wrong people and just listen to their perspective and what their opinion is and what they see that you obviously don't see, or at least what they perceive that you don't perceive? And then this very, very powerful question: what have you missed by just listening to yourself? Boy, that one will sting a little bit, won't it? But we're all like that. Human beings are a lot alike. And I think we all hold to our own opinions and our own perceptions very strongly. I want you to think about it. Now, we could switch everything off and shut down, and you'd go back to your world and you will have learned something. But I've got a lot more for you this morning. This isn't just about learning more about things from other people. It's not just about solving problems or even learning how to work as a team to solve problems. All that's included. I'm hoping that there's some people on this call today and tuning into this later that want to grow, and they want to be a more effective leader, and they want to be a bigger influence. Or maybe you just want to improve a relationship that you have at work or at home or at an organization that you work in? Well, if that's true, what I'm about to share with you, along with what we've already shared, can be transforming. Here's the question that attacks our ego, but if we're willing to listen to it and handle it, this is what can change. What do you not see about yourself? What do you not see about yourself? And how you see yourself, your perception of yourself, compare with the other ways that other people see you? In other words, we look at people and we have an opinion and a judgment. I'm not talking about being harshly and judgmental with people, but we just kind of size people up in our heads. And when we get to know people, we would describe them. If you're a married person, you probably could describe your husband or your wife in some details. And if you've lived with them for a long time and a number of years, you would have a definition and an opinion of who they are and how they are. The question is, does your spouse see themselves the way you see them? The other side of that is you see yourself a certain way. Do they see you the way you see yourself? These are just some interesting questions, and it really dovetails really well with this 4 blind men and the elephant. But now we're going to go look at a window. We're going to look at a tool called the Johari window. Joseph Lust and Harrington Ingham, back in the 50s, way back. That's where the word Johari comes from Joseph and Harrington. They just took the first few letters of their name and put it together, and they created this window. Now, we've changed the model into circles because I think it makes a little more sense here. But I want you to take a look at that diagram and try to start to make some sense of it. And you'll start to connect the dots with the elephant story. But what you see there are 4 different realms. So follow this with me. It's a little technical and it'll all become very simple here in a minute. There is the unknown. What is the unknown? The unknown is what nobody knows. At least nobody in this group knows. It's information that none of us. Let's just talk about 2 people right now. You're working with this other person, and you're wanting to collaborate and work on some problems and work on some issues, maybe work on yourself, and they want to work on their improvement. Maybe you're coaching them for improvement. Well, there's a whole realm of things that neither of you know. I would call it ignorance. You just don't know what you don't know. Then there's 3 other realms involved. There's what you both know already. What you both know and would agree is true. That's that middle part of the diagram where the 2 circles overlap, because the other 2 circles are the blind circle, and this is from your perspective. You don't know some things that the other person knows, or you don't perceive some things or see some things that the other person sees. They know what they see and believe and perceive, but you don't see it that way. You're blind to that. And then there's another realm. There's things you hide. We're not all an open book completely. We keep things private. There are things you know about a situation, about another person, about a circumstance, or about yourself that they don't know. In fact, when you first meet somebody, you don't know them. You know very little. And we're if we haven't got a full trust, we slowly take the cover off and we pull the curtain back and we let people see what we know about ourselves, and they start to see it, and we start to have this 4th place called openness, where we both know. So I hope you get the model, and now we're going to really dive into some questions here about this model, but I want you to get it. Let's just go through it really briefly one more time to be sure it's clear in your mind. There are 4 panes in this window, 4 different realms. There is the unknown. They don't know, you don't know. There is the open area, what we both know. There is the blind area, the things that you don't know, that they do know. And then there's the hidden area, the things that you do know, but are hidden from them. I hope you see that, because that's really going to help us now as we delve into some questions. I'll be referring back to this, and I'll mention this now. If at the end of this you really have enjoyed this and this has been helpful, I'd be glad to send you all this information at no cost to you. Just email it to you. I do that all the time. Just love to help people. So let's go to some questions. Based on the 4 blind men and an elephant, the idea of these 4 realms of knowing and not knowing, I want to ask you some questions. This is coaching questions. This, if you'll fully participate here and get rid of your I know and have some fun with this and own it, this is where you change. It's the only thing that's going to change is the way you see things. There are going to be some aha moments, some little light bulbs. So that actually happens in coaching when you ask a good question and you let people think. So here goes the first one. I want you to think about your life right now. I want you to think about the people you know in life that you do life with. I want you to think about the people you do your job with, your business with. And then ask yourself this question. How might your life and business change if you began to listen to understand? I think most people consider themselves to be fairly good listeners. After doing coaching for almost 30 years and talking to a lot of people and counseling, nobody's a very good listener. I'm becoming better. I can say that. I'm getting better at it. But the most effective position and thinking of listening is when you listen to understand. You don't listen to respond. You don't listen to fix something. You don't listen to answer. You listen just to understand. And I'm saying if you chose to go into a situation now, or into a difficulty, or into a problem, or just into a daily conversation, and you decided to just really listen to understand the other person, to see what they see that you don't see right now. You go in curious. How might your life and business change? How might your life and business change if everybody on your team, or everybody in your family, or everybody in your church or your organization started to listen to understand? Not to defend, not to answer, not to be a know-it-all, but just put all the know-it-all aside and just wanted to understand. That's not the answer to everything, but it's the beginning of some great answers. I'll let you think about that for a little bit, and we'll go to the next question. What might you learn about yourself and your team if you sincerely solicited feedback? What if you, like an Olympic athlete, you welcomed feedback about your performance? You really were willing to listen to what people see in you as a strength and what they may see in you as a weakness, and what opportunities they may see in you that you're missing. Or they might see something very dangerous that's threatening to you that you're just totally blind to. What might you learn about yourself and your team if you sincerely solicited feedback? What if everybody on your team was open to feedback, to trying to discover what they don't know, or at least discover the perception that somebody else may have, to understand them? Isn't that an interesting question? Just give you a moment to think about that again. Third question: how might your influence with others improve if you chose to reveal more of yourself? Back on the window, this is that part that is hidden, that you decide to take a chance and to be vulnerable and to open up and start to share more about yourself. You know, I have found this as a coach. When I'm a know-it-all and I'm going to fix you and I'm going to give you all of my advice, I don't get very far. People don't really like to be told what to do and where they're wrong and how to fix stuff. But when I go in and I offer my own life and struggle and weakness and challenges and maybe how I've been able to change, and I do it in a very transparent and real and connected way, I find that my influence with that person grows. We tend to trust people who are real, not people who know everything and just want to boss us around and straighten us out, but they're open to what we see and what they see. So how might your influence, in other words, people starting to trust and listen to you, go up if you were a little less guarded and a little more open? It's risky. People can take advantage of that. I don't think you should share everything with everybody. I think that's foolish. But where could you share more, perhaps, to grow your influence? Fourth question: what are you doing right now? What are your current practices or habits to help you and those that you lead, that can be personally or that can be at work, increase shared knowledge and wisdom? Boy, that's a lot of words, isn't it? What are you practically doing to help increase the shared knowledge and wisdom? I'm going to give some practical ideas about that. Are you meeting one-to-one with your direct reports to listen, to understand, to have an interchange of perception, to be two of those blind men in front of the elephant that are going to share that information so that they might better see what's going on? Do you sit with people and say, what do you see about me where I could get better? Are you willing to let me share with you what I think you could do to get better? What if we had that kind of trust and relationship and transparency? Do you see how teams are built? Do you see how communication works? I know I'm a little bit in Coach La La Land. This is not typical, but it can be more and more that way. Great teams, strong teams learn how to do that. And you can develop current habits and practices. So one of your practices might be, Dave, when I sit down to have a conversation, I typically start it by introducing what I want to talk about, and then I shut my mouth and I ask a good question and I listen. That's a current practice. I think people know when you really are interested in them and their perspective. I think that's an emotional maturity that few people really exercise and work on and possess. And I'm encouraging you this morning to do just that. Last question. I always like this question. What might happen? What could happen if you started to ask more questions, talked less, and really sought to understand others before being understood? That's one of the Covey's 7 habits in his book. Seek to understand before being understood. What if you took the lead by listening? What if you led with your ears and not your mouth? I'm telling you that I've coached for many, many years. This is what I've done to help people and individuals, is I teach them these skills. Hopefully I practice them better. Here's a really good thought. You're not learning when you're talking. You're not learning when you're talking. Oh, you might be clarifying a little bit when you talk out loud, but when you really learn is when you're quiet and you open those ears, not just the ears on your head, but in your heart, and you really open yourself up to wanting to truly feel and understand how the other person sees it. I'm not talking about giving up your values or giving up your fundamentals or what you hold to as right and wrong. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about respecting another person by listening to them. Dare I say the word loving another person by listening to them. You really can't help someone significantly till you understand them. And they're probably not going to let you in with that hidden part unless they think it's safe. And they're going to feel safe around somebody who's sharing, who's a little vulnerable, and they're willing to let you feed into their thoughts and into their ideas as well. So, take another look at those questions. Kind of let that initial effect happen from all this information we've put out today. And then I've got one more thing to share with you here today. I've got some offers. These are at no cost to you financially. They'll take some time. The first one, I'd love to have a conversation with you and your team. If you're at work and you find this intriguing and you think this could be a help to your team, just call me, email me. We'll set up a time to have a conversation. If the second offer, if you want these slides and these questions and an article or two that kind of supports them, I will send that to you. If you'll ask for it, you just have to email me. Email's the best way to contact me. Third, on the website, my website, mentordavebeam.com, hours of training like this and hundreds of articles for free that you can just go get if you just go to the website. The video training is just a set of links that if you push on each topic, it will take you to the YouTube and you can watch it. This one will be posted later today, along with about 30 to 40 hours of other things like this. So that's for you. Just to go to the website, www.mentordavebeam.com. You can also sign up there for a weekly article that I put out, and that's also free of charge. I get this question all the time, Dave, why do you just give away so much stuff? Because I love to do that, and that is what creates opportunities for me to do paid things with people, but very few of the people that have taken advantage of me through the years have actually come back to a paid program, but I don't care. My heart and my calling and my passion is to get information out and help out to people, help as many people as I can. A few of those people pay me. Many of those people are not paying me in dollars, but they're paying me in their attention and in their change and in their benefit. And that is as much joy to me in this, especially in this season of life. So what I'm saying is, please do not hesitate to contact me. I would love to just help you any way that I can. And again, that's my email, davebeam@mentordavebeam.com. Be glad to fulfill any of those offers and would love to have a conversation with you. So with that, we're going to sign off. We're a little bit early. Nobody tends to complain about that on these things if you leave a little bit early. And we will see you hopefully next month. And maybe I'll have a conversation with some of you. That'd be great. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.